animals represented. Today we're going to be looking at 10 animals that were scarier than dinosaurs, however. You'll realize that dinosaurs were harmless and perhaps even friendly compared to the beasts I'm going to show you today. I'll also talk about some of the movies that fed us ideas of what these animals were like, and I'll compare those ideas to actual facts that will make you understand how real-life creatures were in fact a bit scarier than what we see on the screen. Let's be honest here, some of these creatures belong in a game like Monster Hunter with how terrifying they can be. Stay tuned to number 1 to find out about an animal that you'll be thankful to know it's gone extinct. Number 10. Arthropleura. I'm going to start with an animal that was not as big as a dinosaur. In fact, it wasn't even a carnivore, but I'm sure you'd be quite scared and probably a bit grossed out if you were to encounter it today. And I'm pretty sure you'd rather see a dinosaur instead of this animal. The Arthropleura was a millipede that could reach lengths of up to 2.5 meters, which means if it were to stand on the lower end of its 1,000 feet, it would be higher than a Christmas tree. The Arthropleura is known to be the largest invertebrate of all time. With such an aspect, I doubt any predators would want to mess with it. Number 9. Dunkleosteus. Ugh, even the name sounds scary already. If you're wondering what this animal looked like, let me start out by pointing that Dunkleosteus was indeed a fish. That may not sound scary, but of course we're not talking about a cute tropical fish or even a shark like the one from Jaws. In fact, this thing actually ate sharks like Jaws. This prehistoric fish was 33 feet long, which means it was almost twice as long as the height of a giraffe from its head to its feet. However, what makes this animal threatening is not only its size, but also its sharp teeth. And also, they're technically not teeth. They're sharp bone in its jaw that kept growing continuously up until a point where the edges would become so sharp they rubbed together against each other. These were useful tools to pierce and chew on the prey. This fish was as heavy as a hippopotamus and could easily snatch its prey in less than a second. Number 8. Jachelopterus. The Jachelopterus was an aquatic arthropod. The best way to explain it is by pointing out that some people call it a giant sea scorpion, and already that's horrifying enough. I mean, can you picture that? Scorpions are scary already. I don't want to imagine what it would be like to come face to face with a giant one in the middle of the ocean. It's an experience that would definitely keep me away from the waters for good. The name Jachelopterus comes from Otto Jackel, a German paleontologist who was the first one to describe the species. Although its maximum size has not been confirmed, some experts believe the largest Jachelopterus could have reached a length of up to 2.5 meters, making it taller than humans if it were to stand. This animal is believed to have lived in fresh water, making it a threat to other arthropods and smaller fish. Poor animals didn't stand a chance against this huge creature. Number 7. Helicoprion. And here's another fish on our list, or maybe not. One of the craziest facts about the Helicoprion is that no one has been able to properly classify it and associate it to the animal groups we have today. We can say it's a fish because it lived in the water, but paleontologists didn't have enough information to categorize it. Its teeth worked like a circular blade. Without any proper teeth in the upper jaw, this creature would gum and bite at you at the same time. That's pretty gross and scary. The lower teeth were sharp, so it's safe to assume that the Helicoprion was a carnivore. What scientists can't figure out yet is whether it fed on small or big animals. They can only speculate as they still haven't found any remains of a skull to properly figure out what its diet was. One thing is for sure though, that odd-looking jaw is more than enough to scare us all if we were to encounter it in the ocean today. Number 6. Liopleurodon. Plesiosaurs and dinosaurs are two different groups of animals. Since they both disappeared around the same time, a lot of people think of them as part of the same family, but they're not. And guess what? The plesiosaur I have for you today is definitely one you want to avoid at all costs. The Liopleurodon, or the Liopleurodon. Its name comes from the Greek and it means a smooth-sided tooth. This beast was as heavy as your car and at least half as long as a bowling lane. A quarter of its body was made out of its skull, filled with plenty of razor-sharp teeth. Its fossils also suggest that the monster was a great swimmer, being able to move at high speeds and reach its prey. It's also believed that Liopleurodon was able to use its nostrils to scan the water and identify where certain smells were coming from. I'd definitely stay out of the water if this animal was still alive. Number 5. Sarcosuchus. Have you ever been on trips down the swamp wondering when a crocodile will pop out for food? It's definitely crossed my mind when I'm around muddy areas, and I know for sure I don't want to come across any of these animals. Back in prehistoric times, there was such an animal, very similar but more threatening than the crocs we know of today, the Sarcosuchus. Some people call it the super croc, and for a good reason. It was a very distant relative of crocodiles, but very different in size. The Sarcosuchus was about twice the size of the largest crocodiles we know of today. This beast was so huge that it could easily take on any dinosaur that wanted to mess around. It almost seems like there was almost nothing that its 1.8 meter long skull couldn't take. Are you afraid of crocodiles? Well, imagine getting close to the super croc.